The Antichrist does not die. There are 4 things about the Antichrist that people don't know. Within the scriptures, there are various things written about the Antichrist. For instance, he will claim to be God and will demand to be worshipped. He will blaspheme God. He will display miraculous powers. These are some of the most well-known things about the Antichrist. But we are going to look at 4 things that most people do not know about him. The Antichrist and the false prophet don't die. Hell and the lake of fire are not the same thing. They are 2 different places. The Bible indicates that death and hell are the temporary destination of the unsaved dead. However, the lake of fire is eternal. According to the Bible, the lake of fire is the second death. What many people don't know about the Antichrist and the false prophet is that they are the first 2 individuals that will be thrown into the lake of fire. Within the Bible, there is no record of the Antichrist or the false prophet being judged. The Great White Throne Judgment occurs in Revelation chapter 20, verses 11 through 15. However, the Antichrist and the false prophet are cast alive into the lake of fire. Revelation chapter 19, verse 20 states, "Then the beast was captured, and with him the false prophet who worked signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. These 2 were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone." This should show you just how evil the Antichrist and the false prophet are. Every other sinner and unbeliever in human history will face judgment during the Great White Throne Judgment in Revelation chapter 20, verses 11-15. But these 2 beings will be cast straight into the lake of fire alive. The Bible explicitly tells us that they are cast into the lake of fire alive. The Antichrist does not die. Instead, the beast and the false prophet receive special treatment. They are cast into the lake of fire before the great white throne of judgment holds court. The Antichrist will end up in the lake of fire. He will not rule forever. He is just playing his part, just as the devil has ordered him. And when he is done playing his part, he will end up in the lake of fire, where there is no end. He will have the power to perform miracles. If there is one way to get the attention of people in the world, it is through miracles. There is something that attracts humans to the supernatural. People are willing to travel the globe in search of the supernatural, and the Antichrist will come with the false prophet with the power of miracles. The Antichrist will be empowered by the devil to perform miracles just to win people over. The devil has real power. However, his power is nowhere near the power of God. But nevertheless, he is a powerful being that should not be underestimated. After all, he is formerly one of God's highest angels and has the power to deceive and to emulate miracles. We see in the book of Exodus, the devil energizing Pharaoh's magicians to perform miracles. Exodus chapter 7, verses 8-12. Even in this story in Exodus, God demonstrated his power over Satan. The Antichrist and the false prophet will have the power to do all different kinds of miracles, and people will believe him and follow him. Many people will follow him and will forget God. Revelation chapter 13, verses 13 and 14 state, "And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of these miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live." The Antichrist will be wounded to death but will be healed. In the book of Revelation, we see that the beast from the sea had an injury in the head. Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. The Bible tells us that this wound was deadly, but it was healed. The Antichrist will be instead of Christ, rather than opposite. The word Antichrist means principally against Christ, or secondarily, instead of Christ, that is, a substitute. While many people envision the Antichrist as the opposite of Christ, he will be more of an instead of Jesus figure.